How are we doing today, ladies and gentlemen? And welcome back to another edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. We are going to get into the Cubs dropping the series against the Royals, how this team needs more pitching. I think we all know that, but we're going to continue to discuss that until that comes to fruition and talk about the much needed day off coming up here on Thursday. But before we get into all that good stuff, I just want to give everyone a big thank you for all of the support here over the past few weeks on the channel, all the likes, the comments. I love hearing everyone's thoughts. And again, if you're enjoying the content and you've subscribed to the channel, shout out to you. And again, if you're new, enjoying the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications. We're going to be bringing you all the Cubs news, game updates, the whole 9 yards over the channel for the foreseeable future. So make sure you guys are locked on into Cubs Daily. So the Cubs dropped the game yesterday 8-4. And again, I was alluding to this in a previous video. I don't remember if I said it last week or earlier this week, but the Colin Ray magic is starting to wear thin. Now, is it the dog days of August? Was the wind blowing out? Yes, all those things do play a factor, especially at Wrigley Field. But again, ladies and gentlemen, this is just part of the problem with Colin Ray. He's not necessarily an overwhelming starter. Can he get the job done? Yes, I'm not going to debate that with you guys. Has he gotten the job done for this Cubs team pretty much all season long? Yes, I'm not going to debate that with you. But over the course of 162 games, there's something that definitely happens. You get figured out in some kind of sense, right? The magic just is running thin with him. If there was magic to not run thin, I think he would have been a more prominent starter in this league for a lot longer of a time, right? So, again, has Colin Ray done a fantastic job? Yes. Has he been one of the best bargain value deals the Cubs have signed in recent memory? Yes. I'm not going to debate that with you guys. But again, Colin Ray has been asked so much for this Cubs team, and that's not his fault. Again, he was brought on to, be a sixth reliever in the set, or a sixth starter / first long reliever in that sense. But obviously, injuries to Justin Steele early on in the year, and then Javier Assad never even has gotten up to the big leagues to start. He was a big pitcher for us last year. Ben Brown has been pretty much a disaster. And, obviously Tyone is on the IL. Shota went out for a little bit. The only starter that we've really had are Colin Ray and Matthew Boyd all season long. So again, it's just understandable this is kind of happening. And again, it's just getting to those dog days of summer. Teams are getting figured out. I think the Cubs are fine. Obviously, it's never fun losing to a team below 500. But when you're playing these teams in the American League and you don't see them all too often, there's not a lot of time to study or a lot of time to adjust or any of that kind of thing. So, again, did we lose the series? Yeah. I'm just not that worried in the slightest. Again, we got a series coming up against the White Sox this weekend. This is where we can get right and fix our winning ways in that sense. But again, Cubs dropped the game and the series yesterday. 4 2-run homers for the Royals. They just caught a heater. Again, the Cubs have got to battle with this, right? When teams come to play the Cubs, or the Cubs go play these teams that, aren't necessarily having the best season, they're going to give the Cubs their best shot, and the Cubs have to be ready to swing back, just straight up. Obviously, not having Kyle Tucker in the lineup played a huge role, in my opinion. I know a lot of people are, on the fence of whether they need to re-sign him or not re-sign him, but I'm going to say this. Whether you don't like his stats or whatever, he brings a presence to this lineup that sets the table for all of those other hitters, okay? Pete Crow Armstrong, Seiya Suzuki are having absolutely sensational seasons. And yes, are they performing well? Absolutely. But Kyle Tucker bats second in the lineup, and people pitch around him. And then that means they have to pitch to Seiya. So Seiya gets good pitches to swing at, and then Pete's going to get good pitches to swing at as well. And obviously, whoever bats leadoff is protected by Kyle Tucker, so they're going to get good pitches to swing at as well. So Kyle Tucker plays a role, whether you want to believe it or not. And, obviously, I think taking the day off yesterday was a nice precautionary tale. Obviously, pairing it with back-to-back days is a good call as well. So, again, just another loss. It's going to be okay. I'm not too worried. We're game out of the Central. We have tied for the second best record in baseball. I'm cool. We need to see what we do here at the deadline and move on from there. But I think when we move to the deadline, we know what we need. In my opinion, we need 2 more starters and a reliever to win. especially with the upswing of Matt Shaw here recently. I don't think he's going to continue the sustainability of what he is accomplishing right now. I mean, I think he was, 9 for 18 since the All-Star break with 3 home runs. Hey, kudos to the kid. Kudos to the kid for going back, watching some film, and adjusting, and hopefully taking a stranglehold on third base so we don't have to worry about that. But Cubs need to go get another 2 starters, in my opinion, and a reliever to win in the postseason. There's just no doubt about it. The pitching staffs they will be facing are going to be brutal. The Brewers might have the best pitching staff in the National League as it sits, and that's going to be a tough face when we face them, because we're probably going to have to face them to go to the World Series or go to the NLCS. So I'd say we need 2 starters. Now, how we go and get those starters, that is a fantastic question. The Cubs are not going to be trading their top 5 prospects for rentals. So again, maybe that's where we can maybe snag a Merrill Kelly from the Diamondbacks for, the 9th or 10th or beyond prospect in that sense. There was rumors that the Cubs were at Edward Cabrera's last start. I really like Edward Cabrera. I think he is a solid potential. No, not Alcantara. Edward Cabrera. He's had a very solid season for that Marlins squad. Taj Bradley was just sent down to the minors, so I think that kind of takes him out of the trade talks. Now, if the Rays are just looking to get rid of him, that's a different story, but obviously he has struggled, and he gave up a lot of runs to the White Sox yesterday, so that is a different story on that front. But I think the Cubs need to go get one more high leverage arm in the bullpen and 2 more starters. And one of those starters can maybe commit to or convert to being a reliever in postseason baseball, right? So another name that did come out on the trade block as of yesterday was former Cub Dylan Cease. As you guys know, we had a comment a few weeks ago explaining how the slot drafting worked in Major League Baseball, right? I think we underslotted Kyle Schwarber so we could pay Dylan Cease more to convince him to come to pro ball in the middle rounds. So again, former Cub, we're obviously familiar with him. I will say this, he has been struggling brutally this year. I would not want to give up all too much for him to add him to this team, but again, you never know, right? A change of scenery could do him good. The Padres are not like a bad team, though. He's just struggling. So I would be curious as to see what a package would have to be for him. But I'm not, totally sold on Dylan Cease myself. But it's just another name that came up on the trade block yesterday. So as the days get closer to the trade deadline, more teams are going to be committing to the seller role and trying to get as many assets as they can for either their expiring contracts or players that might be leaving after next season. So it's going to be curious to see. The Cubs are also rumored to be monitoring the Emmanuel Clase position there in Cleveland, even though the Cleveland have come out and said that they are not trading him. But again, you're at the point of the season, you got to take calls on everybody. You don't have to accept any deal, obviously, but you got to call and just hear what teams have to say. If there's any way to improve your team for the short-term and long-term future, you got to take that into consideration. But personally, I am a no-go on Dylan Cease. I really want to give up anything for him, and I think the Padres want to trade him for more major league talent to, supplement their team. I don't know what that means. I mean, if they want like Justin Turner and John Birdie, I'll take a flyer, but that's about it. And honestly, I'm not that interested in doing that because I do think the Cubs need to upgrade their bench, but that's set to the precedent right now because the Cubs need, like I said, 2 starters and a reliever just for me to feel somewhat safe going into October. And yeah, today, Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, take a breather, relax. It's going to be a hot one here in Chicago, probably a hot one all over the country. Chill, stay in the AC. No Cubs today, no Brewers. We're going to get a day closer, and we're going to start a big stretch here, okay? A big stretch. We got 3 against the White Sox. We got to at least take 2 of 3 from these guys. They have been playing insanely well as well. They have been rolling offensively, so this is kind of the true test here of where are the Cubs in terms of during their development of the season, right? Is their offense just cold? Where's the pitching depth? We need these things. We shouldn't need these things to beat the White Sox, but this rendition of the White Sox, who are just rolling, it wouldn't surprise me if they stole one or maybe two from the Cubs. I know that's crazy, but just the way these teams are trajectory right now, it's kind of wild to think about. But much needed day off. Kyle Tucker getting 2 days off in a row. Hopefully everything's a-okay. PCA getting a day off, very, very helpful. Happy to see him in the lineup yesterday. He even went yard. It was a garbage time home run, but you know what? All you need is one swing to see the ball go out the yard and get that confidence back. So much needed day off. I hope you all have a fantastic Thursday. I will be back tomorrow. We'll preview the series and we'll update you guys and gals on any news that comes on through. You know the rumors will be flying, and you know the one place you guys and gals can catch it all, and that's right here on Cubs Daily. So again, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit a thumbs up on that video and subscribe to the channel for more, and we'll talk soon.